Hi, welcome to another edition of Social News Interviews. I'll be your host today, ERock Christopher, and today we're really excited to be able to introduce to everyone the CEO of Premier Wellness Centers. This gentleman is a top Florida chiropractor, and he's making a bold claim that today's modern chiropractic care is based on a large set of mistruths, misconceptions, and even potentially lies. And so we wanted to reach out to this individual and get some insights as to why he's making these bold, audacious claims. And so with that being said, we'd like to introduce to everybody on today's episode, Dr. Bill Jensen. Dr. Bill, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you doing today?
Thank you so much for being here. So, Dr. Bill, would you mind sharing with our audience today why you're making some of these claims that modern-day chiropractic care, to some extent, is based on a lot of misconceptions, mistruths, and can we even go to the extent of saying lies?
Well, I mean, lies might be a little harsh. It's based on a lot of misconceptions and mistruths, and that's only as a result of technology and science. So, a lot of things evolve over time as we learn and unwrap different things within science and research. And so, I went to school and graduated back in 2001, and all my predecessors before that, we were all pretty much taught the same thing, which was when you have vertebral misalignments or misalignments within the spine, they can irritate nerves or compress nerves. And then as a result of that, wherever those nerves travel to, that can create dysfunction or disease. And that can occur, but it's probably about 5% of the time. So 95% of the time, what we've now found out is there's a lot of neurology in and around the spine. It's not just these nerve roots. There are neurons called mechanoreceptors, and they're found primarily in muscles, ligaments, discs, and other soft tissues, and within in and around the spine primarily. And what happens is when vertebrae in your spine get displaced from a number of different reasons, they trigger these mechanoreceptors to fire, and that induces a stress response within the brain. Now, a stress response, isn't what a lot of people assume when it comes from the spine. We think about, I have a lot of emotional stress going on in my life, a lot of deadlines, my kids and my job and everything else that's going on. But this stress response generated internally is a physical stress response. But the brain really can't tell the difference, between a stress response being generated internally or an emotional stress coming on externally because, your kids or the jobs or the bosses or things that are going on in our hectic lifestyles, nor can it tell the difference between a stress response from when we evolved and a tiger came out of the bushes and we had a choice to either fight or run, which is called the fight or flight response. But the reaction is always the same, and that induces the brain to trigger stress responses, which initially, is not a huge issue for us as far as our physical health, but long-term can create devastating effects to our health, every single organ, cell, and tissue within our body.
So, Dr. Bill, what you're saying is that modern-day chiropractor does work. It's just not necessarily for the reasons that a lot of people think. So, my next question to you is so why do chiropractors make you feel better?
Well, there's a lot of different reasons physically and even chemically behind that. So if you're feeling a lot of tension building up in your spine and you're having pain as a result of that due to muscle spasms or inflammation in the muscles or in the tissues or even potentially within nerve roots, the adjustments will free things up for you. So initially you'll feel looser as a result of that. But from a chemical standpoint, when you initially adjust somebody's spine, you'll get a rush of endorphins and enkephalins. And primarily, that's the body's natural pain reducers within the body. The other thing that happens as well is that there's a neurological effect on the brain, as we discussed before, and that can actually shut down the areas of the brain which will dump cortisol and another compound called catecholamines, which are inflammatory markers within the body. So the inflammation will subside, cortisol will subside, and generally speaking, that makes the body systemically less inflamed and less tense. It also can reduce your heart rate, it reduces your respiratory rate, and it can give you a calm sense of well-being as well.